Oh, hi. So I'm going to read some yoga lessons to myself, actually, but if someone is here, that's fine. I have recently had such problems with this, so I thought that I wouldn't get in here, but now I'm here, so let's go. I try to learn, and I have so many interests, so I go in all directions. So this is about yogic and functional Western autonomy, and this is about Kundalini yoga, if no one knew that. I don't know how many parts I did before and in which channel. We hope this works still, but anyway, there is an introduction here first. As Kundalini yoga teachers, we need a basic orientation to the body. We need to know its fundamental structures and their primary systems and functions. Anyone who teaches exercise and physical awareness needs to understand the tool that we use, the body. As Kundalini yogas, we recognize the subtle autonomy, such as the meridians and chakras, along with the physical structures recognized in medicine. We are aware of the subtle anatomy of energy and consciousness as well as the gross anatomy we learn in standard textbooks like Gray's atonomy. By understanding these essentials, I just knew that was a TV series, but anyways. By understanding these essentials, we gain a deeper appreciation of the power and design of the human body and the exquisite flow of energy in each Kundalini Kriya. Kundalini Yoga Kriyas work on the total being, bringing natural balance to the various systems as they interact with one another. Kriyas repattern the body systems, systematically breaking down energy blocks and simultaneously releasing the mind. This brings a deep sense of the infinite and establishes our connection to our soul. Kundalini Yoga recognizes the presence of the grace of God in the whole process. We we call Kundalini Yoga a sacred science. And yeah, energy yoga, this is, and I love it so much. Anyway, please note that in this Western anatomy section, the suggestions of yoga sets and exercises specific to each area are only examples. Keep in mind that the comments accompanying the Kundalini Yoga Kriyas are ones that Yogi Bhajan gave while teaching, or else brief elaborations of basic anatomy, either gross or subtle. Sorry. They are intended to raise your awareness, give you interesting teaching comments, as well as a motivation to keep up in the exercises or habits. The few examples in this chapter are not meant to limit you, but rather to simply steer you in the right direction. Please use the vast resource of sets, kriyas, exercises, and meditations gathered over the years in all the many valuable Kundalini yoga manuals. Okay, I need to cough, so I need to take a pause here. So I hope you didn't hear that. So then we go along. What is Kundalini? The energy of the glandular system combines with the nervous system to become more sensitive so that the totality of the brain perceives signals and interprets them. Yogi Bhajan. All right. So now we go into the whole physical. Wow. This feels like super heavy. I love all these. I love this so much, but it's like heavy to read through. I mean, in a way. And I want to do this slowly. I don't just want to brush through it and don't get it. So, and therefore I do it like this. Anyway, circulatory, yeah, well, system. And actually, I am not a very physical person. I'm rather very much the opposite. And I love the meditations and everything that is still, and usually many yogis are in the other direction, let's say, but those that I know of. But when I had Lotta, a yoga teacher, she was wonderful, the best I've had so far. And she was very free in her practice. I think she did mostly at the time life yoga, but it was built on Kundalini yoga still. Anyway, so I said to her one time that, wow, something is wrong. I don't know what. Maybe I get some fever of this or something. I get like all warm in my face and everything. And after a while, when she listened to me, she said like, "Do you think it's like the blood circulation?" And I realized that I didn't have a clue. I actually experienced that as something dangerous almost, or something not good. I mean, really, that's so sad in a way, but yeah, we start there then. Organs and components: heart, arteries, capillaries, veins. And if I pronounce it wrong in English, I'm so sorry, but anyway. Basic organ structure and functions: heart. Starting at the heart, blood circulates from the right atrium to the right ventricle to the lungs and back to the left atrium and left ventricle of the heart. From the left ventricle, the blood is pumped to the arterial system throughout the rest of the body and back through the venous system to the right atrium. This is fascinating in itself, by the way, magical. Arteries carry blood from the heart to the arterioles, small arteries, and capillaries, minute vessels that connect arterioles and small veins. And they have muscular layers that is responsible for keeping blood pressure balanced. Concentration or relaxation of this muscular layer either reduces or expands the volume in the artery. Capillaries allow nutrients, gases, and waste products to migrate into and out of the circulatory system. The walls are very thin, and the total surface area of the capillary bed is large, providing a massive surface for nutrient exchange. Transport nutrients and oxygen to tissues. Pick up waste products and carbon dioxide. Veins return blood from capillaries and venules, small veins, to the heart. Yeah. Relationship to other systems. The circulatory system delivers nutrients and oxygen to all organs. It also collects toxins for delivery to the lungs, liver, and kidneys for excretion. Negative influences and risk factors. Diet high in cholesterol and fats, especially animal fats, which contain free radicals, molecules with a negative charge. Free radicals in the circulation can damage the cellular walls of blood vessels, which is the beginning of arteriosclerosis, the process in which scar tissue and cholesterol are deposited around the site of injury. Antioxidant vitamins help neutralize the negative charge and prevent injury to blood vessel walls. Lack of activity, which is the number one cause of illness in developed countries, and obesity. Yeah. And also bad posture, nicotine, alcohol, and salt consumption. Even my heart reacts to what I read. I like almost get pain in my heart. I need to drink some water. I feel, I really want. This was a long time ago since I did this. Not only because the YouTube was messing up, but also I guess I had like I wanted to not get into it, I guess. All right. Ethnic or radical predispositions. For example, African Americans tend to have a disproportionate incidence of high blood pressure and other coronary risk factors. Wait for a cough. Really, I wonder if that is actually something. I need to check that up, honestly. But stress induced high blood pressure, which usually has its source in mental, emotional, or physical overstimulation of the sympathetic nervous system and adrenal glands. This overstimulation causes increased heart rate and strength of traction, along with increased resistance to blood flow of the extremities because of muscle tension around the blood vessels. This is so important. I mean, really, many don't really understand these factors also. Anyway, always, I mean, you just think about whatever medicine or some good foods and nutrients. Wheat germ, alfalfa, buckwheat, celery, lecithin, green leafy vegetables, nuts, peas, beans, low-fat milk products, cayenne pepper, cayenne pepper, oranges, lemons, strawberries, calcium, vitamin E, B vitamins, selenium, ginseng, oat bran, and garlic, which lowers blood pressure. Oh, a few of these I didn't actually know. How yoga helps. Relaxation with yoga helps reduce the impact of stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. Experiments show meditations have increased cortisol production under stress, but the levels is, is quickly reduced compared to non-meditators. Thus, they do not accumulate long-term damage and lose the chemical responsiveness of the body to changing demands from the environment. Pranayama and aerobic exercise increase oxygen supply in the blood. Yoga promotes weight reduction through increased metabolism. Yoga strengthens the heart muscles. Yoga increases the efficiency of blood flow by increasing the number of small peripheral blood vessels. The volume of the circulatory, anyways, how I read, I feel like I've lost all the English now when I don't do this too often. Blah, blah, blah. The volume of the circulatory system increases, and so does the efficiency of getting nutrition and oxygen to the peripheral tissues and waste products from the tissues. Wow. One of the mechanisms for this effect seems to be an increase in nitric oxide, which helps regulate peripheral blood flow at the local cellular level. This mechanism is stimulated through exercise and meditation, especially when consciously paced breathing is used. Wow. And there are also pictures here with where you see where the aorta's superior vena cava or right atrium, coronary sinus, tricuspid valve, right ventricle, left ventricle, aortic valve, mitral valve. Interesting. Now I think about mitras. Now, never mind. Pulmonic valve, left atrium, pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery. Well, anyway. And also in the whole body there is an image of a person, and also the lymphatic system here later, but still about the blood circulation. Jugular vein, carotid artery, aortic arch, interior vena cava, aorta, femoral artery, femoral vein. Well, anyway, suggested yoga exercises and other support. I really should do these myself, so I don't know why I didn't read this before. And also the lymphatic that I come to soon then. Many of the more aerobic sets, such as abdominal strengthening, sadhana guidelines. There are various on certain pages in other books, so it doesn't matter that I say that. But anyway, heart center sets, relaxing tension, opening circulation, and moderating blood pressure. Left and alternate nostril breathing with deep, slow breaths. These have helped me a lot, though. But also, I need to exercise also. Sital and Sitkari pranayam. I need to check these overall. It says also breath of fire. You should maybe be a little bit calm, depending on how high blood pressure. 1 minute breath, 20 seconds inhalation, 20 seconds the breath, and 20 seconds. No, now I'm saying it. 1 minute, 20 seconds inhalation, 20 seconds hold the breath, and 20 seconds exhalation. Is that 1 minute breath? And then arm, torso, and leg lift exercises such as ego eradicator and cross crawl exercises. And spinal twist, which assist the return of blood and lymph to the heart and assist in the elimination of toxins. Cold showers, which stimulates and dilate the capillaries, to improve circulation to the skin and outer layers of tissue. Wow. Caution for students with high blood pressure. These students should consult their physician before commencing yoga, as people with high blood pressure often cautioned to avoid strenuous exercises and tensing of the muscles that might increase blood pressure. Yeah, very important to take it easy with that then. For students with low blood pressure, these students should consult their physician before commencing yoga. Commencing yoga's circulation to the extremities can decrease during prolonged yoga positions. Wait a second, how do I even read this? Before commencing yoga's circulation to the extremities can decrease during prolonged yoga positions. They should also be careful not to stand up too quickly, which may result in fainting. Yeah, of course. Okay, lymphatic system, organs and components, lymph ducts and nodes, tonsils, spleen, bone marrow, thymus, basic organ structure and function. Parts of the lymphatic system are located throughout the body, which concentrate with concentrations of lymph nodes in the groin, armpits, and neck. The primary functions. Oh, I found this wonderful one on YouTube. I won't show that now because I'm afraid if I touch something, this will just start to not work. But anyways, it's called, I don't know what it's called. It's like just 10 minutes or maybe a little bit more. But a woman from Australia do these lymphatic exercises that is quite easy, but they really target the right areas. I feel it was lovely to do them, and yeah, it's not yoga though, but these areas that they mention here also. The primary focus is to return fluids from the peripheral tissues back to the circulatory system. Bodily fluids are filtered and bacteria are killed at the lymph nodes. That's magical in itself. Contraction of the muscles pump lymph through the lymph ducts. The bone marrow, blood vessel walls, and spleen manufacture, grow, and store lymphocytes, white blood cells, which help the body defend against infection. Relationship to other systems. The lymphatic system facilitates the movement of salts, water, bacteria, and wastes from the tissues and return them to the arteriovenous system, the system of arteries and veins. Yeah, it has so much to do. Many people don't even know what is the lymph system, So, negative influences and risk factors. The lymph system is often the body's first point of contact with foreign bodies, chemicals, and bacteria. It can be the route for the spread of infections and cancer in the body. The lymphatic system does not have its own pump like the circulatory system, so keeping it healthy is a process of constant detoxification through movement, breathing, and proper nutrition. Poor eating and sedentary lifestyle, oh my, allow the buildup of toxins, bacteria, and other illness-producing processes. Drugs, particularly marijuana, lowers immunity. Oh, I've never heard such a thing. It does. Okay. It does. Wow. Okay, poor mental and or emotional states can depress the immune system also. Okay, some good foods and nutrients: onions, garlic, ginger, chlorophyll, yogurt green drink, kelp, coenzyme Q10, fresh and live foods that are high in prana, life energy, antioxidants as and vitamins A, B6, B12, and C. Um, Manganese, I don't know what that is. Zinc, copper, selenium, echinacea, or how you say it in English, and coldensyl. Take for specific conditions, not ongoing as toxic. What does it say? And golden seal. I don't know. Right? Okay. How yoga helps. Upper body yoga exercises support the lymphatic system. Long, deep breathing enhances lymphatic circulation. Increased physical activity flushes the system mechanically and boosts immunity. Yoga detoxifies the liver, lungs, and kidneys, taking pressure off the lymphatic system. Yoga enhances a personal sense of well being, thereby boosting immunity. Suggested yoga exercises: upper body exercises, particularly the dynamic use of the arms and shoulders to stimulate and drain the upper lymphatic system. And you should start there actually when you come. In opposites of generally Kundalini, you raise the Kundalini from the lower to the upper. But yeah, anyway. Satkriya, sadhana, never mind sadhana guidelines, but leg lifts and many navel exercises which enhance circulation in the lower lymphatic ducts. Massage for the lymphatic system. Exercise set for the lymph system. Wow, I should go to some massage. There are those very close by here who have this lymphatic massage going on. I've heard people going there that really love it. So okay, there's so much. There is also respiratory system. There, I will see what else there is here first before I start reading everything. Digestive system, endocrine system, and nervous system. Woohoo! And the musculoskeletal system and spinal biomechanics. Oh my, there is a lot here. And the genitourinary system. I want to go through this actually before I stop reading, and that's a lot, but I will just keep going for a little while, anyways. I just want to be kind of done with it, but not also. Oh, and my feet start to fall asleep. Anyway, right. Respiratory system is where we are now, then. Right. Organs and components. I need to move my legs though. Right. Let's see. Nose, pharynx. I say this wrong, I'm sure, but never mind. I just read through it anyways. Larynx, voice box, trachea, windpipe, bronch, larger and air passages in the lung, bronchioles, smaller air passage in the lung. Cilia, is that cilia? It says small hair-like structures, lungs, alveolar sacs, ribs, diaphragm. Okay, basic organ structure and function. The mechanics of breathing begins with the lungs, which reside in a chamber created by the rib muscles, and diaphragm. The diaphragm does the majority of the work of respiration. Elastic tissue within the lungs allow them to expand and contract. Contraction of the rib and diaphragm muscles creates a vacuum in the chamber, which forces the lung to expand and fill with air. When the diaphragm and rib muscles relax, the elastic tissue returns the lungs to their original size, expelling the air, Air travels through the nose and past the larynx and into the trachea, or however you say it. The air then travels down into the air passages in the lungs into thousands of alveoli. What kind of words is this? Okay. Uh, Gases pass across the alveolar cell membrane. Gases in high concentration travels across this membrane to an area of lower concentration, compared with air in the alveoli. Blood entering the lungs has a higher concentration of carbon dioxide and a lower concentration of oxygen. Therefore, carbon dioxide travels from the blood to the alveolar air while oxygen travels from the alveolar air into the blood. Never mind, actually, I think I read this so crazy, but anyway. Carbon dioxide dissolves readily in water, but oxygen does not. Therefore, red blood cells capture the oxygen and carry it to cells throughout the body, where the oxygen, in conjunction with sugars and starches, is used to generate energy. Oh, the waste products of these chemical reactions are carbon dioxide and water in the body. Carbon dioxide is an acidic waste product, so the body maintains alkalinity by removing excess carbon dioxide through breathing. That was actually very fascinating, that little chapter there, or that little, not chapter, but yeah. Cilia or cilia uh, of in the smaller air passages in the lungs help move debris out of the air sacs into the larger air passages where they are coughed out or swallowed. Cilia or cilia is the nose. Cilia, maybe you say, yeah. In the nose also helps keep debris out. Oh, this is such a magical thing, the body overall. Anyway, relationship to other systems. Breathing provides waste removal and oxygen for cells throughout the body. The lungs cradle and cushion the heart. How sweet. Breathing creates a rhythmic movement of the spine and pumps the cerebrospinal fluid, anyways. Controlling the breath can alter the heart rate. Brain waves and thoughts can be altered by controlling the breath. Yeah, wow. Rapid and erratic breath is associated with sickness, of course. Movement of the diaphragm helps pump the lymphatic fluid and massages the abdominal organs. The way they explain it here in this text actually make you see, or I see, how it all come together. I mean, how it's all connected. Negative influences and risk factors. Smoking destroys the elastic tissue, cilia, and air sacs in the lungs. With the cilia destroyed, the lungs cannot remove debris from the air sacs. The body then increases the number of mucus glands in the lungs' small air passages, so the debris can be caught in the mucus and coughed out. This is what we call smoker's cough. When the air sacs are destroyed, the delicate tissue that allows oxygen to move into the blood is lost, which results in low concentration of oxygen in the blood. When the elastic tissue is destroyed, the lungs cannot contract normally to their smallest size, and the carbon dioxide that should be expelled remains in the lungs. When carbon dioxide remains in the body becomes more acid. Breathing is by far the easiest way the body has to remove carbon dioxide and thus acid from the body. Wow, this is so fantastic. I mean, the this old, extremely old knowledge that we just think that medications will alter, like, oh my, some good foods and nutrients anyway. Oranges, raw fruit and vegetables, especially carrots, beets, and radishes, all berries, nuts, especially walnuts, and millets. How yoga helps. Long, deep breathing balances the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, creating a deep, long lasting relaxation. It creates a pulsation at a certain rate in the brain, which stimulates the pituitary gland, the master gland, developing the intuitive consciousness. Pumps the cerebrospinal fluid around the brain. Reduces toxic buildup in the lungs by properly opening the air sacs, stimulates the production of chemicals in the brain to work against depression, cleanses the blood of carbon dioxide to make the blood more alkaline, increases oxygen intake, helps release blockages to the flow of energy in the meridians, speeds up the physical and emotional healing processes, helps to break unconscious habit patterns and addictions. Yeah, that's so fantastic in itself also. All these new things we come up with, they're not bad. Many times are they also working, but this, I must say, this is fantastic. Breath of Fire helps the body reach an optimum acid alkaline balance, reducing irritability and plaque production in the arteries. Stimulates the vagus nerve and balances autonomic nervous system. Cleanses the blood by removing toxins from the tissues, lungs, and mucous membranes. Improves digestion, stimulates the solar plexus and what does it say? And frees the natural flow of energy through the body. Strengthens the nervous system to handle stress, increases physical stamina, strengthens the nerve plexus and nabi, helps to break addictions, increases the vital capacity of the lungs, improving health and the enjoyment of life. Suggested yoga exercises. All Kundalini yoga sets, exercises, pranayama, and meditations improve the respiratory system. Something new is an exercise set for the lungs and bloodstream. I don't know, there are different ones, but they say where you can find them, but I just read it now. Yeah. Uh, Preparatory exercises for lungs, magnetic field and deep meditation, Kriya for physical and mental vitality, purifying the self. Yeah. And it also said, see the chapter breath for more extensive study of breathing from a yogic perspective. But that we have already done, I think. Right? So the digestive system, very important. Hey, baby girl. Hey, baby girl. My cat. Okay. And digestive system, organs and components. Mouth. Maybe I should say also there was a lot of text in another picture here also. I don't think it's very small also. I can't even, but it's an image about the respiratory system with all whatever I mentioned there, where it is and everything. I don't think I have to read that though. You can Google an image of that, I'm sure. Okay, mouth, stomach, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, small intestines, large intestines, rectum. Yeah, okay, I'll put my feet up again, up and down. Wow, wow. So, okay, that's my exercise for today. Basic organ structure and function. The digestive system is a huge mining device. First, the mouth crushes the food, and then the stomach turns large particles into smaller particles in a churning bath of acid. The gallbladder adds bile to the resultant slurry to turn large fat droplets into microscopic fat particles. Proteins are too large to cross the intestinal lining, so the pancreas adds protein splitting liquids to break proteins into individual amino acids. Along the way, vitamins and minerals are released and made available for absorption. These extremely small particles are now actively transported across the intestinal lining by protein transporters or are absorbed into the blood. The blood transports the precious cargo to the liver, which builds most of the fats, proteins, and sugars that the body needs. What remains in the small intestine, fiber and other wastes, is transported to the large intestine for drying and is then stored in the rectum for evacuation. This is so fantastic. I mean, listen. I mean, this is such a fantastic procedure our bodies do all the time. Yogis have long understood the importance of the navel area, which is the automatic mesenteric nervous system. It has as many neurons as the spinal cord does, but it distributes them diffusely over the abdominal area and intestines rather than consolidating them in a single tract. It is critical to many components of physical and mental health. Yeah. There is also an image here of the whole digestive system with oral cavity, tongue, oropharynx, esophagus, liver, gallbladder, duodenum. I don't know what is it. Ascending colon, ileum, cecum, appendix, anal canal and anus, stomach, pancreas, transverse colon, what does it say? Jejunum. What does it say? Sigmund colon. Sigmoid, well, I don't know. Rectum. Anyway. Stomach. The stomach is both a processing area and a storage area, secreting acid and enzymes to begin digesting proteins. Hey, baby, you do fine. Yeah. Digesting proteins while it churns the food. Ulcers can be caused by bacteria and aggravated by overly acid conditions. The nerves in the stomach can vary in the number of receptors from person to person by factors of more than 100,000. Oh my. So some people are very reactive to emotions through the stomach. The stomach also produces a substance that allows absorption of vitamin B12 for nerve development and maintenance. Maintenance, you say, bro. Oh, what are some people here? Okay, if you have something to add a question or something now to went away. But if you're here and want to chat in the chat box, it's allowed. I don't know if I can answer anything. I just read this for myself. So, but anyway, okay, whatever. Da-da-da. Small intestine. The smaller intestine connects the stomach to the large intestine, and is made up of the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry. I'm Swedish. Anyway, at the microscopic level, the surface of the intestinal lining is covered with small protrusions, much like the shag on a carpet. These protrusions increase the surface area to enhance the absorption of the end product of digestion. The small and large intestines contain about 5 pounds of biologically active bacteria that produce vitamin K, among other things. Really. Large intestine. The large intestine is made up of the ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, and rectum. It connects to the small intestine at the ileocecal wall, never mind, which prevents the flow of waste from the small intestine to the large intestine. The large intestine absorbs water, salts, and products of bacterial activity, vitamin K, B vitamins, and amino acids from the remaining digestive mix, and then stores the mix for elimination and forces it out of the body. Anyway, liver. The liver is a 5-pound organ below the diaphragm on the right side of the body. It is a giant factory that processes all the food nutrients absorbed by the small intestine into useful forms of sugar, fat, and protein. The liver and the kidneys both eliminate toxins ingested or produced by the body. If the liver is overworked due to stress and poor food, it becomes sluggish, which can result in fogginess of the brain, depression, and pain in various areas of the body as the body's cells react to the toxicity of unprocessed chemicals. If part of the liver is removed, it will go back to full size. Is that most of the time or all the time? I don't know, but yeah. Gallbladder. The gallbladder collects bile, which is made in the liver and which is necessary for the digestion of fats. When bile is needed, the gallbladder secretes it into the duodenum, the first part of the small intestine. The bile um, emulsifies fats and oils. Gallstones from the gallstones form from an imbalance of bile salts, cholesterol, and lecithin when the diet is too high in sugar, fat, meat, and carbohydrates. Pancreas. The pancreas, located under the stomach and directly below the navel. What? Below the navel? Isn't it above? Anyway. Okay, I will just read what it says. Produces protein splitting enzymes that are essential for good digestion and secretes them into the duodenum. The pancreas also produces insulin and glucagon to regulate how much sugar is in the blood. Insulin decreases the production of sugar by the liver and increases the absorption of sugar by the muscles that move the body and by that move the body and by fat cells. Glucagon increases liver sugar production and decreases sugar absorption by tissues. Diabetes occurs when these are not no, when there is not enough insulin. Mhm. Insulin resistance, kind of, I guess, when you say it starts with that. No matter, anyway. Negative influences and risk factors. Diet of processed or fried food, lack of fiber in the diet, eating late at night, sedentary lifestyle, alcohol consumption, which is toxic to the liver, consistent dehydration, foods that are hard to digest. I mean, they don't eliminate within 24 hours, that is meant that. And stress. Some good foods. For the stomach, yogurt, wheat. Well, before the wheat was very messed with toxins, let's say. Anyway, but here it says not actually wheat, it says wheat germ, so it's like that. Anyway, peppermint, ginger, and fennel. For the liver, beets, carrots, green foods, and daikon radishes. For the gallbladder, olive oil, cold pressed oil, whole grains, nuts, carrots, beets, pear juice, grapefruit juice, lemon juice, grape juice. Okay. For the pancreas, avocado, alfalfa, potatoes, beets, carrots, olive oil, papaya, grapefruit, and lemons. For the small intestine, wheat germ, green leafy vegetables, cabbage, and oranges. For the large intestine, lots of water, green leafy vegetables, yogurt, and acidophilus, and fiber. Actually, those those good bacteria that you can also. But anyway, how yoga helps. Yoga increases the fire energy at the navel point, which digestion, aids digestion. Uh, yoga increases the secretion of gastric juices and digestive enzymes and speeds up a sluggish metabolism. This is really good stuff for me. Yoga improves the environment in the intestines so that harmful bacteria and other parasites cannot proliferate, or survive. Yoga increases the ability of the body to eliminate. Upper arm exercises stimulate meridian points corresponding to the stomach and colon. Yoga balances their liver. Suggested yoga exercises: Satkriya, bow pose, camel pose, twisting exercises, elimination exercises, Nab Kriya sets, the art of equilibrium of the stomach, Kriya for the lower spine, and elimination, Kriya for physical and mental vitality. They are called this, then. Of course, anyway. Strengthening the stomach, exercise set for the liver, colon, and stomach. And there is a caution here, of course. Also, caution: many foods create a change in the function of the organs and glands of the digestive system. Grapefruit juice, even as little as 8 ounces a day, has been shown to slow the liver and change the effect of many medications. Okay. St. John's wort have been shown to stimulate the liver to process more toxins, so it lowers the blood level of medications by processing them faster. Tell your doctor about all herbal supplements you are taking along with any prescribed drugs. Yeah. And then we are in the endocrine system. Also, each of these systems are in themselves very fascinating. I don't know if I really should go on and read about all of this, but I kind of want to, and also I'm very not tired, but a little bit more though. Endocrine system, organs and components. Pineal gland, pituitary gland, hypothalamus, gonads, ovaries, female tests, males or male, thyroid and parathyroid, adrenals, thymus, and pancreas. This is fascinating. Basic organ structure and function. The endocrine glands are the guardians of the health. Optimal functioning of these organs gives us access to many of the subtleties of life. These glands produce powerful chemical transmitters called hormones. Despite their relatively small size and quantity, these glands exert a great influence on the growth, development, and maintenance of the body. They aid the nervous system in regulating many bodily processes. Similar in function to nerve impulses, hormones transmit information with a daily rhythm in a pulsing fashion. The functions of the various glands are intimately intertwined. So there are also obviously an image with pictures, or so you see where these are, the glands. Pineal gland. The pineal gland is small, approximately 5 centimeter, and shaped like a pine cone. It produces hormones that regulate levels of sex and thyroid hormones and affect brain activity. Pituitary gland. The pituitary gland, a master gland, regulates the secretion of the thyroid, adrenal, and reproductive glands. It is located just beneath the hypothalamus in the middle of the brain. The pituitary gland produces hormones that influence blood pressure, milk, contraction of the uterus, ovulation, bone maturation and growth, protein synthesis, and use oil fat reserves. Some hormones are the basis for feeling of connectedness and social bonding. A well functioning pituitary gland helps us bond during sex. Interesting. How interesting this would be for everyone to learn, right? Uh, Hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the main intermediary between the nervous system and the endocrine system, the two major control systems of the body. It is the center of mind body phenomena, located in the middle of the brain, just above the pituitary gland, and no bigger than a walnut. The hypothalamus receives information from the brain, the cells, and the senses. It sends information throughout the body in the form of chemical messages that triggers emotions, metabolic activity, and actions in a nonlinear wave-like manner. The optic nerves cross at and intersects the connection between the pituitary gland and hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, yeah, however you pronounce it. Thyroid gland. The thyroid gland consists of two lobes on either side of the windpipe in the neck, just above the sternum. Throughout the synthesis of many proteins, the thyroid controls body metabolism and growth along with the development of the nervous system. Too little of the Too little of the principal hormone produced by the thyroid gland can lead to thickening of the skin, lethargy, obesity, and heart failure. Too much can lead to nervousness, anxiety, excessive weight loss, and heart palpitations. Depression and menstrual abnormalities are often caused by either too much or too little thyroid activity. Lutein is vital to the production of this hormone, lutein. Parathyroid glands. The four pea-sized parathyroid glands are located within the thyroid gland. They control absorption, retention, and metabolism of calcium and phosphates. Adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit on top of the kidneys and produce the essential hormones, cortisol and aldosterone. Cortisol is the major controller of carbohydrate metabolism, and oh god, it's such a itchy in my nose. No, and it helps the body respond to stress and illness. Aldosterone acts on the kidneys to promote sodium and thus water retention. The adrenal glands produce hormones that produce muscle growth, and they also produce adrenaline, which is responsive for the fight or flight response. Okay. Thymus gland. The thymus gland is located above the heart and beneath the sternum. The thymus gland is involved in maturing the white blood cells that help support the immune system in fighting illness. Pancreas, as mentioned in the digestive system section, the pancreas produces insulin and glucagon. Insulin permits glucose to pass through the cell walls to be used as energy and storage. Glucagon inhibits glucose absorption. Together, they balance glucose levels. The pancreas also helps to control carbohydrate, fat, and protein metabolism. Okay, what is this then? This is like gonads. The gonads, ovaries, and testes control secondary sex characteristics and ovulation, placenta formation, milk production in women, and sperm production in men. Ovaries. The ovaries contain the eggs and produce estrogen and progesterone. Progesterone. Anyway, the hormones that control the maturation and development of the eggs. The hormones also control the thickening of the uterine wall during pregnancy and its sloughing off during during menstruation. Okay, I understand. Okay, so yeah, so it really cleanses. I understand. Interesting. Tests. I mean, the tests produce the hormone testosterone as well as sperm. The adrenal glands provide a small amount of testosterone in women. Testosterone levels affect the sex drive in both men and women. I have bunches of testosterone, actually more than most women. It's related to, uh, yeah. Anyway, something you're born with them. But anyway, how interesting this is. Yeah, adrenal glands. Huh. Interesting. This is very interesting. Anyway, testosterone levels affect the sex drive in both men. Yeah. Relationship to other systems. The nervous system, brain, and glands are intricately linked within the endocrine system. Negative influences and risk factors, chronic stress, exposure to pesticides that mimic hormones. Some good foods for these systems: onions, garlic, ginger. They are like master food for in the yogic um, and Ayurvedic traditions. Yeah. How yoga helps. Working on the chakras through stimulation of the Kundalini energy positively affects the health and balance of the glands, which creates a sense of well being, allowing the individual to feel connected to all life. Focusing on the pituitary point, the third eye point at the brow activities. No, activates the pituitary gland. Kirtan Kriya is excellent for this. Kirtan, maybe you say. Kundalini yoga, particularly breath control, can greatly enhance the activity of the pineal gland. The breath strongly affects the function of the pineal and pituitary glands and the hypothalamus. Sound and mantra have a powerful positive effect on the glands, particularly the endocrine centers of the hypothalamus and the pituitary and pineal glands. Suggested yoga exercises and other support. For the adrenal glands, beyond fatigue, that is what they are called, these kind of yoga practices. Anyway, for the adrenal glands, exercise that twist and stretch the torso. For the pineal, pituitary, and thyroid glands, Waheguru Kriya. And for the pituitary gland, Kirtan Kriya, Ajna stimulation kriya, pituitary gland series, breath meditation series for glandular balance, balancing the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus, exercise for the nervous system and glandular balance. For the thyroid gland, any exercises that involve movement of the neck rolls. For the thymus gland, tapping on the chest sets for heart center. For the reproductive organs, a frog pose, satkriya, camel pose, and tree pose. Okay, and then we have nervous system. Should I continue? I feel like this is very much to read, but also I kind of want to read it all. We will see if I can cope. I just need to change my legs all the time. I'm so happy no one is here. There were two who was here for a while, but anyway. Nervous system, organs and components, neurons, central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, spinal cord, brain, basic organ structure and function. And there are images here also for all the things that I mentioned. I won't read what's in the images, which since I can't point to it or show it. Like anyway, basic organ structure and functions. The nervous system is divided broadly into two components: the central nervous system, made up of the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, made up of the cranial, spinal, and peripheral nerves. Nerves function roughly like telephone wires that carry electrical signals, nerve impulses, from one place to another, so that areas of the body can communicate with each other. Nerve tissue is some of the most specialized tissue in the body. Because it stores memory, it gives up the ability to reproduce itself. Interesting. Though it can repair itself to some degree. For this reason, many injuries to the nervous system are often permanent. The nervous system learns, it grows and changes from stimulus, increasing the number of connections if there is more use and dropping connections if there is less use. So fascinating. This is really a fascinating system also. Literally all nerves end at an organ or a muscle or within the central nervous system. Nerves that end in muscles cease them to contract. Nerves that end in organs generally cause them to act or sometimes suppress their action. Nerve signals in the central nervous system cause the brain consciously or unconsciously to sense something and respond. I must read this also. Functions of the left brain: controls right hand, hearing, sense of time, dealing with numbers, conclusions, analyzing, tensing, judgment and logic, extroversion, rational, objective, making an effort, learning new things, details, written language, which is often also um, connected to what you say would be like male or masculine side. Functions of the right brain: controls left hand, sight, sense of space, music appreciation, initiative, integration, relaxation, intuition, introversion, emotions, subjective, taking things as they come, unconscious habits, seeing the whole, insights, and ideas. I have so much more of the right brain. Anyways, but the balance here is really good. Neurons. Uh, Nerves are made up of cells called neurons. Neurons are bundled into nerves, which together form the nervous system, and they communicate with each other via chemical signals. The central nervous system. The central nervous system, CNS, is involved in both conscious and unconscious sensations and is the source of voluntary motor control. It is a nervous system inside of the skull and spinal canal and consists of the brain and the spinal cord. These nerves depend on the bony protection of the skull and spine to prevent injury. There is a tough skin around the entire CNS called the dura, but within the CNS there is a little fibrous structure around individual nerves. If there is trauma severe enough to violate the skull or spine, there usually is damage to nerves. The central nervous system floats in cerebrospinal fluid that is contained in a sac attached to the skull and the vertebrae, however you say, of the spine. This fluid is made in the cavities of the brain by filtering salt, sugars, water, and other nutrients from the blood, and it is reabsorbed into the blood. Recent studies showed that, I mean, this was written some time ago, so maybe not all this is accurate now, though. But as for when it was written, recent studies show that the cerebrospinal fluid is balanced by secretion through the nasal sinuses. Blocking this self-cleansing mechanism is connected to a significant position, of our headaches, as much as 50%. Oh, interesting. I understand that this can really, really be true. Okay. The cerebrospinal fluid is the circulatory system of the central nervous system, bringing in oxygen and nutrients and moving waste products away. Cerebrospinal fluid is pumped through the central nervous system by spinal and cranial movement. Okay, peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system, PNS, is a various system um, outside of the skull and spine. 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves make up the peripheral nervous system. Cranial nerves, such as optic nerves, what does it say? Olfactory nerves and facial nerves stem directly from the brain. Spinal nerves extend outward from the spinal cord and become the different nerve plexus of the body, such as the brachial, lumbar, and sacral plexus. Oh my God, I'm tired now from reading this. I just think about Alex Gray's. I have his cards with these different things with images of the nervous system and blah, blah. This is so fun. I need to pick some cards from there. Where to start? These nerves are surrounded by fibrous sheath, that functions almost like a conduit for electric wires. The sheath protects the nerves from traumatic damage and keeps pressure from affecting them. Autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system, which is associated with our capacity for emergency response. I think I'm too tired to read more now. Just this and then go to the musculatory system some other day. So I will stop after this. But anyway, it's part of the peripheral nervous system. It includes the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. The sympathetic nervous system is the gas pedal of the body. It sends the heart racing, speeds up the breath, and moves blood out to the muscles and away from the core of the body, the digestive system. It gives the body the message to go. The parasympathetic nervous system is the body's braking system. It regulates the rebuilding functions of the body. I have more of this, parasympathetic, never mind. Yeah. Okay. Where was I now? Yeah. It regulates the rebuilding functions of the body. It slows the breath, stimulates digestion, relaxes the nerves, and shifts the circulation toward the core of the body. It is vital for handling stress since it coordinates the recovery period from stress. The spinal cord. The spinal cord connects the brain to the 31 pairs of spinal nerves of the peripheral nervous system. The spinal cord runs down to the lower vertebrae and is anchored in the tailbone. Sometimes a problem with the sacrum or tailbone can cause pulling on the spinal cord that results in various symptoms. In situations that require quick response, such as touching a pan, the body must respond quickly. Reflexes go from sensory organs to the spinal cord and then out to the muscles without involving the brain so that the arm can respond faster. The nerves in the fingers sense the heat and sends the signal to the spine, which is reflected immediately back to the muscles of the arm to pull the fingers away from the heat. Well, you can do this with the heart also. Just pull away, although it's hot. No, never mind. Anyway, brain. The brain weighs about 3 pounds and consists of four areas. The cerebrum provides the conscious functions of the brain, such as intelligence, intuition, and sensory and motor functions. It has four lobes and is divided into the right and left hemispheres. The two hemispheres are connected by a broad band of nerve fibers and transmit messages between them. The cerebellum controls muscular activity patterns of movement, muscle tone, balance, and equilibrium. The pons in the relay station between the cerebrum and the cerebellum and coordinates hearing, taste, eye movement, rhythm, and deep breathing. Well, hope no one listens to this, anyways. The medulla, yeah, oblongata contains oblongata, yeah, contains reflex control centers and is the exit point for cranial nerves. The thalamus is the part of the brain that is the site of integration of the sensory system. The thalamus filters sensation and decides which sensations and thoughts will make it to consciousness and which will go unnoticed by the consciousness. It is pivotal in mediating sensation, movement, learning, and memory. So that's awesome that it can do that without your conscious choice. Like, it could be awesome, but also you could get manipulated. Someone is in here. Hey, you can say something in this chat if you want. Oh, anyway, I will keep reading for a while then. Relationship to other systems. The nervous system and the glandular system work together to repattern the chemistry of the brain. The hypothalamus acts as the intermediary to these two vital systems. The nervous system controls most of the other systems of the body via nerves or less directly via endocrine system. The autonomic nervous system sends either go or relax messages to all organs. The cranial bones move with the rhythm of the breath. And this motion helps the cerebrospinal fluid to circulate. Okay. Negative influences and risk factors. The nerves of the brain require a constant supply of sugar and oxygen that is provided by the blood. When there is inadequate blood flow or an interruption of blood flow, nerve damage rapidly ensues. This is called a stroke. Yeah. Drugs, particularly cocaine, prevent the parasympathetic nerve system from doing its job. Marijuana severely affects the functioning of the brain. It is like running an engine without oil. Oh, since it interferes with spinal fluid circulation. It also lowers testosterone levels and reduces the number of connections between neurons in areas that affect memory and motivation. I knew it. I've been married to someone who was smoking all the time. And I knew it, but here it says so. Actually, that person got a stroke that they said was caused by marijuana. Actually, people say it's not dangerous in any way, but anyways, so that's what the doctor told him. Anyways, but anyway, also this about the whole testosterone levels that have to do with the sex drive and everything. I get it. I thought it had something to do with this, and it did, though. Anyway, some good foods and nutrients: calcium, magnesium, olives, lecithin, celery, cucumber juice, yogi tea, ginger, bananas, and onions. Can be good for this. How yoga helps. Yoga increases the energy moving through particular nerve pathways. Breath of fire particularly intensifies the movement. Yoga balances the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. The yogic view is not necessarily to decrease the sympathetic stimulation, but to increase the parasympathetic response. Mhm. As we age, we lose brain cells. The interconnections between the brain cells increase through exercise, activity, and challenge, which leads to robust circulation and good glandular response. We now know that we generate new brain cells throughout life and that exercise, such as yoga, increases this generation of cells. Researchers speculate that depression comes in part from a slowdown in the production of the needed new cells. Mhm. The neural pathways in patients with chronic pain become hypersensitive to pain. Ah, One way to decrease pain is to increase the amount of information traveling down a shared neural pathway, effectively diluting the pain information. Increasing physical activity, such as doing yoga, produces this effect. Okay. Meditations that include eye focus, mudra, and chanting aloud actively involve the functions of the thalamus. Suggested yoga exercises and other support. Um, These primarily affect the central nervous system but have a secondary effect on the peripheral nervous system. Gong meditation and chanting, rhythm and sound are the best way to access the parasympathetic nervous system. Really? Interesting, yeah. Uh, cold showers create a powerful parasympathetic reflex, you say? Triangle pose, satkriya, exercises that involve rapidly changing hand and arm movements help to integrate functions in different areas of the brain, as well as to move the energy along the body's meridians. To activate the central nervous system and stimulate the pituitary gland, pranayama, basic breath series, breath of fire stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. Left nostril breathing stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system and the calming, intuitive, creative faculties in the right hemisphere of the brain. Oh, I love that so much. Hmm. Right nostril breathing. Wait, let's see. Yeah, that's right. Right nostril breathing stimulates the sympathetic system and the action oriented analytical faculties of the left brain. Yeah. Alternate nostril breathing balances the activity of the two hemispheres. It gives an experience of altered receptivity and readiness for action and integration and integrates ideas into action. Fantastic. And then we are at the musculatory system, and then we have spinal biomechanics and the urinary system. I kind of want to read it all, but also not. I read a little bit more. The musculoskeletal system. I just skip the whole images here, though. Organs and components: bones, long bones, membranous bones, muscle, smooth muscle, cardiac muscle, skeletal muscle, joints, ligaments, tendons. Basic organ structure and functions. The musculoskeletal system is made up of bones, muscles, joints, and tendons. Bones. Bones are made by depositing calcium and phosphate on a protein matrix. Most of the bones in the body are long bones, which have marrow in their center to help produce both red and white blood cells. The membranes, no, no, no. The membranous bones are the flat bones, such as the scapula, sternum, and cranial bones. Muscles. There are three types of muscles. One, smooth muscles are in the digestive system and artery walls. They move slowly but are able to maintain sustained contraction for a long time with minimum energy consumption. Two, cardiac muscles from the heart. They have the ability to function in a finely coordinated fashion and to work repeatedly over time. Three, there are two types of skeletal muscles. Postural muscles are designed to remain concentrated for hours without fatiguing uh, the muscles deep in the abdomen, that is. Quick twitch. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Uh, okay, quick twitch muscles are designed to respond and contract quickly. These muscles fatigue easily when compared to postural muscles, but are much more coordinated. I mean, the muscles, for example, in the hands. Skeletal muscles perform three functions: holding posture, performing movement, and producing heat. Skeletal muscles consist of thousands of bundles of protein fibers that move along each other. When activated by nerve impulses, these fibers contract. Muscles are held together with supporting connective tissue called fascia. Fascia. Oh. Muscles get sore from heavy use because of the buildup of lactic acid. Muscle cramps occur if there is a deficiency of calcium and magnesium, or when lactic acid accumulates because of deficiency in oxygen while the muscle is working. This is why it is important to breathe deeply when exercising. Joints. Between the bones are joints which allow for motion. The ends of the bones are covered with smooth cartilage, a type of fibrous connective tissue, and lubricated with synovial fluid. This allows for effortless motion. Mhm. I probably say ligaments in English also, I don't know, are bands of fibrous tissue that keeps bones in proper alignment and acts as hinges for the joints. Possible problems include sprains, dislocations, and arthritis. A sprain is a strained muscle or ligament around the joint. Dislocation occurs when the rotating bone is displaced completely out of its socket. It often includes a tear in one or more ligaments surrounding the joint or damage to the socket. Arthritis is inflammation within the joints. Tendons. Muscles often pull across joints and connect to the bones via tendons, which are fibrous cords by attaching muscle to bone. The fixed end is called the origin, and the moving end is called the insertion. The mechanism of muscle movement is based on two opposing muscles working together, one muscle relaxing and the other contracting, which allows finely controlled motion of the joint. Muscles can only pull in the direction of contraction, pulling the origin toward the insertion. Besides contraction, the other functions of muscles is controlled elongation, allowing the origin and insertion to slowly move apart. That is, not simply releasing the joint, but allowing the joint to slowly open up in a controlled way. Many injuries are the result of improperly controlled elongation. Oh, interesting. It's more about that in the spinal biomechanism in the chapter also. But relationship to other systems. Muscles are the main heat generator in the body. Blood circulation is increased by movement. The body adapts itself to the increased energy needs of the muscles by increasing the heart rate, and therefore the amount of blood that reaches the muscles, it means. Rapid, deeper breathing brings more oxygen to the blood. How yoga helps. I just sigh. Anyway, yoga strengthens the nervous system through use of the muscles. Yoga creates a balanced exchange of muscle contraction and relaxation. Yoga releases muscle tension through stretching. Yoga relaxes specific muscle groups and areas. Muscle relaxation remains long after the yoga posture is complete. As a result, related organs and body systems are relaxed. Yoga helps the body conserve energy by calming the body processes and the activity in the nerves. This energy is then available for meditation. Yogic movement enhances blood circulation. Yoga keeps the joints flexible. It helps to clean out deposits in the joints and helps to prevent the buildup of new deposits. Suggested yoga exercises: flexibility of the spine, of course, but they are called this. Abdominal strengthening and purifying the self. Here it comes to Chinesiology. I never. Oh, it means something else here, I think. Chinesiology is a system. No, it is that. Testing the muscles to determine the strength of specific areas of the body. This communication with the body is based on the meridian system. This system is detailed in Touch for Health by John Thie, Thie. I need to check that actually because this is so fascinating how this works. It really wows me. Anyways, so then I have two left and I'm dry in my mouth, really. I don't know. Shall I continue or not? Spinal biomechanics I have left and the genitourinary system. It seems like a little bit, so I will read it now. Then I'm done. Okay, spinal biomechanics, basic organ structure and function. The spine consists of 32 to 34 vertebrae, of which 3 to 5 vertebrae are fused into one bone, the sacrum. Yogi Bhajan often counts them as 26, which considers the sacrum functionally as one and the tailbone coccyx as one. The spine is divided into 4 regions of vertebrae. 7 cervical, neck, 12 thoracic, chest, 5 lumbar, lower back, 5 sacral fused, 3 to 5 coccyx. This number varies among individuals. Oh, okay. Between the vertebrae, intervertebral discs with elastic cores act as shock absorbers to avoid damage during movement. When this elastic core is squeezed out from its proper place, it presses on the nerves. This is called a slipped disc. The spine has 2 mutually exclusive functions that it needs to balance. It houses and protects the nervous system and allows for mobility. When there is a conflict, protecting the nervous system is the body's top priority, and the muscles connected to the spine go into spasm to prevent mobility. The skull and spine house the skull and spine house the central nervous system and have holes that allow nerves to communicate between the central and peripheral nervous systems. Okay. Negative influences and risk factors. Weakness in the spine. Common problem areas in the spine that yogic practice can help are upper back, neck, and lower back pain. Back pain that, oh my god, it itches my ear. Lower back pain, where was I? Yeah. Back pain that is not caused by a pinched nerve is often caused by muscle imbalance and less than optimal spinal mechanics. People tend to be too strong and too tight in their front thighs, chest, and posterior neck muscles. People tend to be weak in the hamstring, buttocks, abdominal, middle back, and anterior neck muscles. Weakness in the neck. A muscle imbalance in the neck, especially weak anterior neck muscles, tends to produce a posture that reinforces the imbalance. The neck tends to strengthen and shift the head forward, which pulls a strain on the muscles of the upper back and back of the neck. Weakness in the lower back. When the lower back is weak, it tends to arch forward and put pressure and strain on the joints in that region. Good yoga exercises for this weakness are those that involve stretching the overly tight muscles and exercising the weak muscles, obviously. Controlled elongation is the most important motion, especially in the abdominal area. The elongation is provided by controlling the lowering phase of leg lifts or sit ups. That means keeping the lower back pressed as flat as possible during any leg lifts and especially during stretch pose. How yoga helps. Yoga rehydrates the discs to normalize structure and function. Long, deep breathing expands the ribs and the spine. The cranial bones move with the rhythm of the breath, and spinal and cranial movement pumps the cerebrospinal fluid. The movement of the sacrum circulates the spinal fluid. Stretching resets the resting tension of the muscles alongside the spine and strengthens the repattern specific muscles. Yeah. Suggested yoga exercises: Kriya for the lower spine and elimination, of course. Flexibility and the spine, basic spinal energy series, exercise that strengthen the abdominal muscles. Spinal flex, cat cow, and cobra. Yeah, and there are images here also for that. Oh my, there is a lot more to read. Not a lot more, just 2 pages, but it feels a lot right now. But I wanted to. Yeah. I don't have a good light here. I always do that. That's more complicated. Caveats and cautions for the spine and neck. See the form of alignment of roles in the class chapters for more cautions. Yeah. Okay, there are more cautions that I can read somewhere else. In general, encourage students not to be competitive or push the spine and neck aggressively. More progress is made by moving slowly and consistently. When there is pain, numbness, weakness, or lack of muscle control in the arms or legs, or especially if there is sudden onset of difficulty controlling urination or defecation. No, what to say? Yeah, you say that. I think this is indicative of significant neurological problem. Oh, of a significant. The student should see a physician promptly before continuing yoga. Okay, interesting. Warm-ups. It is a good idea to use a warm-up set which increases flexibility before doing a challenging kriya. For example, oh, there are 2 people here now. You can say something if you want to in the chat box. Anyways, not much to say maybe to this. But for example, sun salutations in the way Kundalini Yoga does it. But anyway, lower back. Be sure to keep the abdominal muscles engaged and the lower back flattened against the floor when doing leg lifts. If the back arches up, that means the psoas muscles, already too strong, are working and not the abdominal muscles. Keep the neck lock applied in poses that involves lifting the head, which stabilizes the shoulder blades so that we can use our arms. We can do this with either the upper trapezius muscles or the muscles of the mid back. However, if we use the upper trapezius muscles, we are hanging our arms on our necks, putting a strain on the neck. Therefore, mechanically speaking, using the muscles of the mid back is preferred. Cobra pose. This is a problem for many people. Stretch the chest forward as opposed to shortening the back so that the joints of the lumbar sacral spine are not riding on each other. Use modified cobra when necessary. That means resting on the elbows rather than the hands. Headstand. In Kundalini Yoga, we do not do headstands and we never put pressure on the cervical vertebrae. Shoulder stand. Make sure the weight is balanced on the shoulders, not the neck. Plow pose. Plow pose, maybe you say. Don't push it. It is better to increase the mid back stretch before going into it fully. Stretches, generally speaking, avoid bouncing stretches since they send a signal to the muscle to tighten up. Encourage gradual, consistent stretching, synchronized with the breath. Rest. Regular and sufficient rest is just as essential as regular physical activity to muscle function and development. And also, when it comes to pregnancy and menstruation, there are more things to be said, but it is important to inform women of the limitations necessary when doing yoga while pregnant or menstruating. Remember that the limitations for doing yoga while pregnant are written for yogis. Start by assuming the pregnant woman has never done any yoga or exercise before. So you should be even more careful, meaning. Mhm. The immune system. Organs and components. Bone marrow, spleen, glands, lymphatic system, white blood cells. Basic organs, structure, and function. The organs of the immune system manufacture immune cells, white blood cells, that provide the body's defense against chemicals, microorganisms, and cancer. The spleen is on the left side of the body, below the diaphragm. It purifies the blood by removing damaged and old red and white blood cells. Thymus gland, located near the heart below the sternum. The thymus gland is involved in maturing white blood cells. It supports the immune system in fighting illness. Relationship to other systems. The adrenal glands, thymus gland, and hypothalamus and pituitary gland all produce vital hormones in the immune system. Mental or emotional stress can affect this hormonal balance and weaken the immune system. Some good foods and nutrients. For the spleen, yellow vegetables, bananas, honey, sunflower seeds, yogurt, okra, citrus fruit, buckwheat, olives, cabbage, vitamin C, D, F, B complex, iron, copper, and manganese. I still don't know what that means though, but I have to check that. The manganese thing. How yoga helps. Yoga has a powerful cleansing effect and it stimulates blood circulation and massages the internal organs. By stimulating the hypothalamus, sound and rhythm have a powerful effect on the immune system. Suggested yoga exercises and other support. Immune strengthening workout, strengthening the immune system. They are called this, and that sounds otherwise, I mean, kind of, it says itself, but anyway. Exercise set for the lymph system, all pranayam. For the spleen, sit in rock pose, place the hands on the thighs, exhale and hold out, and pump the stomach. For the thymus gland, bear grip, thumping on the chest. Yeah, that was it. Thumping on the chest. Okay, so now the last. The genitourinary system, organs and components. Kidneys, Uh, Uterus, bladder, urethra, prostate for males and testes, uterus and ovaries for females. Basic organs and structure and function, blah blah. I'm so tired now. The genital and urinary systems are studied together because they are so intertwined anatomically that problems in one often cause problem in the other. They share common neurological and anatomic pathways, such as the urethra. For a discussion of the genitals, see another section then about the endocrine systems. Anyway, and we have said that also in this uh, audio, actually. But the urinary system consists of two kidneys connected to the ureters, which are long tubes to the bladder for storage. A third tube, the urethra, leads from the bladder to the outside of the body. The kidneys are located just above the waist of the back. Actually, yeah, anyway, it depends, I guess. They remove waste and excess water from the blood to produce urine. The bladder collects urine and can hold about 1 liter. When the bladder is unable to empty properly, this leads to tension in the back, neck, buttocks, backs of the thighs, and the outsides of the feet. Okay. Relationship to outer systems. The kidneys help eliminate toxins that accumulate in the blood. Also, they produce hormones that perform a number of functions, including stimulation of red blood cells, blood cell production in the bone marrow, and regulation of blood pressure. Yeah. The kidneys respond to both neurological and hormonal messages. The kidneys control the water balance in the body. If they absorb more water back into the body, the blood volume goes up and so the blood pressure goes up. If they eliminate more water, then the volume goes down and the blood pressure goes down with it. Therefore, unhealthy kidneys will put a great deal of stress on all other organs and on the heart in particular. Sitting on top of the kidneys, the adrenal glands communicate to the kidneys primarily through the hormone aldosterone. Negative influences and risk factors. The kidneys are the most important organs for the elimination of toxins, even more important than the liver. They can be damaged by drugs, both legal and illegal. They, there is evidence that common drugs such as aspirin, ibuprofen, and antibiotics in even moderate doses can diminish kidney lung function. Probably the biggest insult to the kidneys is the failure to drink enough water. Eating a lot before bed compounds the problem, since the kidneys concentrate that waste all night. It is critical to monitor and deal with any symptoms of high blood pressure, as high blood pressure damages the kidneys and ultimately the heart. Wow. Some good foods and nutrients. Kidneys, lots of pure water, all green vegetables, celery juice, cucumber juice, corn silk tea, a basmati rice, and there is a note here, corn silk tea increases exertion of urine in and is not appropriate for all conditions. Yeah. And then bladder, eggplant, okra, green leafy vegetables, carrots, wheat germ, pumpkin seeds, olives, vitamin C and E, and calcium. How yoga helps. The kidneys sit right under the diaphragm, so improving flexibility in the spine and diaphragm will open up the nerves and blood circulation in this area. Exercises like spinal flex increase the blood circulation to the kidneys. Many elements of a yogic diet stimulate the kidney. Okay, let's see. Many elements of a yogic diet stimulate the kidneys to eliminate wastes and decrease their workload by decreasing the intake of toxins. Yeah. Suggested yoga exercises and other support. Toning the kidneys. Is that part called? Exercise set for the kidneys. For kidneys. Mhm. Camel, cat, cow. Stopping the flow of urine uh, several times while urinating. Oh, I thought that was not a good thing to do, but okay. This is good for strengthening the perineal muscles and helps to prevent incontinence. I had no clue about that. I never heard that before. Wow, interesting. Okay, then I was done. 1.5 hours. Thank you for anyone who listens. I hope you learned something. And if there are any questions, I check in now and then I can maybe answer even if there are any comments then, though. Yeah, that was that for now. I'm glad that I read that. I want to continue reading, so maybe I do that soon. Bye for now.